Hello, everyone. I'm Anungla Zoe Longkumer, and I'm the curator for this series of 3 online discussions of women in music in the Northeast. These discussions were held because there was a need to start conversations with artists from the Northeast and give them a safe space to talk about their lived experience and realities. The series include 2 webinars, which are a continuing conversation with female artists practicing their music and looking at the intersection of gender, indigeneity, and music. And the third webinar is a conversation with artists about their music, their support systems, or lack thereof, and the struggles they have faced in this journey. And I'm personally very, very grateful to have got this opportunity to bring together many women artists in the Northeast to talk about their life in music. And I hope you all enjoy listening to their conversations. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Welcome to the fifth session of Cultures of Peace. Before we begin, I would like to acquaint you with Zubaan and the program today. Zubaan is a feminist publishing house and NGO that has actively taken part in chronicling, publishing, and participating in the women's movement in India and South Asia. This webinar today is part of the 2020 programming for Zubaan's Cultures of Peace Festival of the Northeast project, run in collaboration with Heinrich Boell Stiftung India. The Cultures of Peace project aims to create spaces for conversations on issues relevant to the Northeastern states through the avenues of the arts and culture, that is, photography, writing, and literature, filmmaking, activism, and more. Today's session, Making Music in the New Normal, Indie Artists on Their Roots Support System and Gender in Music, is part of the second quarter of Cultures of Peace. This session will see a conversation with 5 musicians who will share their stories of the reality of music making and their experience of conveying these through their music. The artists will also speak about how they made their way in the indie music scene or the larger music industry and how this affected their music and their creativity. The panel hopes to also explore the kind of support system that exists for artists, especially women, and how those can be built and sustained by their male counterparts and others who are afforded greater privileges. This session is chaired by Raina Bhattacharya, who is a social activist, a spoken word and theatre artist from Assam. Moving on to our speakers, we are joined today by Fame Sangma, who is a singer-songwriter from Tura, Meghalaya. Her songs are heartfelt and easy on the ears for someone who focuses her writings mostly on anxiety and pain one can go through. It has been her way of sharing her thoughts to her listeners while coping with this crisis she likes to call life. Adi, or Ladylicious, has achieved success in Mizo music industry as the first female rapper to make an album in the Mizo language. Her songs convey the struggles that she has gone through. In her teenage years, she listened to a lot of old school rap songs. She used to cover some female rappers and thinks it was the main reason she started writing her own rap. Reble is an 18-year-old rapper and has been rapping for almost 8 years now. She's from a distant village called Nongba, which is located in the Jaintia Hills in Meghalaya. Borkung Hrangkhawl is an award winning artist, rapper, singer from Tripura. His journey in music took off when he released a single called When I'm All Alone. He was also part of the Drop Squad, an old hip hop group which was signed by Times Music in 2010. Ruthi Chali is a singer from Aizawl, Mizoram. She sings with the band Even Flow. Before we start, I would like to just go over the rules for participants attending today. Thank you for being here. Your video and audio have been automatically turned off on entry. Please do keep them turned off. Audience questions will be taken via the chat box, which will close once we get a certain number of questions that can be answered today. However, the raise hand function will still be available to direct any queries at the hosts. Me, along with the other hosts with Zubaan in their name. We will start dealing with audience questions around 4:45 p.m. If there's any speaker in particular you want to direct your questions to, please make sure to mention that as well. The discussion will be recorded and posted online via our social media channels. If you choose to ask a question via the chat box, uh, your name might be displayed during the webinar. Entry has been moderated to guard against trolling. No hate speech, targeting, or discriminating against any community will be tolerated. Any participants using such speech will be removed from the webinar without warning. Uh, the panel has given permission to be quoted out of the session. And the panelists have not agreed to have any screenshot of the session uploaded on social media. We will now begin the session. Over to you, Raina.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, which is titled Making Music at the New Normal, Indie Artists and Their Roots, Support Systems, and Gender in Music. Making music in the new normal, in the context of today's webinar, basically means that musicians can now engage with their audiences much more closely. Lockdown in this digital age has ironically brought artists and their audiences closer together, making collaborations for artists possible across great distances, and also bringing new audiences to their base. For a musician, an original song or a piece of music is not just a song or a piece of music, but the whole journey that they went through in the creation for it. For them, each song evokes this journey they undertook, with all the pain endured or the joy experienced along that journey. This makes the interpretation of that song for the artist so much more informed than for the audience, in whom only certain emotions are evoked from listening to the end product, so to say. So making music in the new normal for the artist means that they can now share their journey of creation with their audience, share about the processes they underwent, which fueled their passions and inspired them to create their music. For the audience, on the other hand, coming to know and understanding precisely what the artist went through in the creation of a song or a piece of music, which brought solace and joy to them, now deepens their experience of listening to that song or that piece of music composed by the artist. Moreover, bringing forth the struggles that an artist has to go through on account of their gender and racial identities, among others, helps in connecting deeply with the audience who may be undergoing similar struggles in their lives. It is a conversation rooted in vulnerability, of sharing difficult stories, and the pleasure of being understood and loved. Virtual spaces like this one allow for that unfiltered, intimate look into artists' lives. So this is one great positive in this new normal that we are slowly adapting to. This is also while acknowledging that the new normal has created a digital divide between those who have the privilege to stay connected to their favorite artists and those who don't. My sincere thanks to Zubaan and Heinrich Boell Stiftung India for opening up the space for artists and audiences to get to know each other more deeply, and to Anungla Zoe Longkumer for curating this session. We have here an interesting panel of indie artists from the Northeast who will share about what makes them the artists that they are. In the first round of questions, I'd like to touch upon factors that determine and contribute to their understanding of one's identity, drawn from race, gender, mental health, personal experiences, and so on. Thank you, Fame, RD, Ruthi, Reble, and Borkung for coming on board. I hope that 3 minutes will be enough time for each of you to answer the questions in this round, because we really want to know more about you and have more questions for you. So let's dive right in. My first question is directed to you, Fame. So your band is named Fame, the band, as from the lead singer, which is you, right?
Right.
So I was listening to one of your podcasts, and you made a very bold decision to come away from Tura and go to Mumbai. And you did this for music's sake. So when you decided to relocate with your band to Mumbai, what had been on your mind? Did you envision that it would be a walk in the park as compared to the music scene in Tora? Or did you think it would be an uphill task, but you opted to do that anyway?
Um, I think Tura is a little better now, but 4 or 5 years ago, I wouldn't consider the music scene here as a scene. And I don't think relocating to Bombay was ever in my agenda. It was more of like an impromptu decision that I made because I was tired just being home and like not being able to do anything, and everyone else in the band was pretty much scattered all over the country doing their studies and whatnot. And two years of being stagnant had pretty much done it for me. I needed like a change of rhythm in my life. So my bassist was already in Bombay. He was doing a sound engineering there, and he often insisted that I go down there and that there would be like lots of things for me to do there. And so I did, initially with a plan to like study something, but I never really got around to it. So by the end of the year that I moved, we had competed for this IIT Bombay, Moot Indigo Livewire, and Strawberry Fields Bangalore, and had won both the competitions and surprised ourselves. So that's when we decided, like, why not give this a shot? And like so I really didn't know how things worked in Bombay because I had never been there before, despite it being like the place to be for musicians. And it only took me like a few months to grasp, like to get a grasp of how like things really are there. So and it all started with like looking for a place to stay because that was like hectic as hell.
Mhm.
And like I understood how things were in a more faster pace compared to Tura. So sometimes like it took a lot of effort um, to catch up with that pace, but we were also not that keen on giving up that easily. So yeah, if it wasn't for COVID-19, I guess we would have been in Bombay right now.
So it was quite the culture shock, for that matter, when you actually moved to Bombay. So that actually brings me to my next question that you admit in your bio that your songs are fueled by anxiety and pain. And if I may ask, what are the things or situations that make you feel anxious? Was Bombay one of them? And what was the source of pain that you feel?
I cannot really tell you what makes me anxious. Like there isn't one, but like many things that make me. And I just tell myself that it's probably because like I'm one of those people who like overthink uh, or is obsessed with unnecessary thinking, if that makes sense.
Hello.
All right,
And
all right. Yes,
so
please continue.
sorry. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, like this brain of mine is wired with complexities that even I find it hard to like understand it sometimes. So I mean, like I I do write happy songs, but most of the songs that I put out are not. Um, I mean, I am an anxious person, and that's a given. But like, uh, it helps me when I get creative with my moments, and and use it to my strength rather than just like letting it, I don't know, bring me down, because that can be like pretty exhausting sometimes. And like you say, source of pain. Uh, I think pain is a very relatable topic. I think everyone agrees. It's something that we are all very familiar with. However, like the way I find myself reacting to certain, I don't know, like painful or traumatizing situations are, you know, like somehow new and overwhelming. So like sometimes like I do not know how to react like to certain things when I come across it. And like the roots of it could be like, I don't know, it could be like a lot of things, like the usual, like losing a loved one or fallouts. It could be like my own guilt. It could be as silly as like forgetting my bandmate's birthday. But like, you know, that's how it is. But like on a positive note, I think, you know, making music and writing is, I don't know, like it helps me cope with all of that. So
Right. And that's a very strong statement that you make, that it's important to learn how to turn in your anxiety and pain into a strength,
right.
especially when it comes to your art. So thank you so much, Fame. I would like to actually, I will come back to you with more questions, of course. But before that, I would like to go to Adi. Adi, if you're there.
Adi is just joining us again. I think she dropped out. Maybe if we can move on to our next panel.
Absolutely. So, Adi, we are waiting for you. Please do join us. The next set of questions I have are for Ruthi. Ruthi, if you can hear us. Yes. So, I wanted to ask you that in your bio, you said that singing is like breathing. So we would love to know what you mean by that when you say that, and what is the source of your soulful expression in your singing?
Music to me is like breathing. I don't get tired of music. I don't get tired of breathing. I don't get tired of music.
Right.
I guess Fame feel me that. It's therapeutic for me in some way, you know. It gives me a sense of calmness. For me, it's like a healing process. I let go of all my frustrations. Um, Something that makes you stressed out. It's just kind of put all of those problems aside. That's why the music, the lyric, the rhythm of the song just suits me, you know, and I'm able to be in that moment.
And you've also said that in your bio that the only time you enjoy yourself is while you're singing on stage. And when was the
Yeah.
first time you felt this? And what is your life like off stage? Because you especially
Um.
mentioned that staying home with your grandmother is very important to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I first performed in a concert back in 2015, I think that was a concert for Myanmar. That moment was my very first performance as a real artist. Um, it was my very first time to expose myself. That moment was the best feeling I've ever received after a very long time, uh, because there was so much going on before I entered into this scene.
Mhm.
So I've never felt that kind of peace, uh, and I've also realized how much I enjoy singing on stage rather than off, because uh, you know, when you're on stage and it's really working and you've got the audience with you, it's the oneness you feel, you know. So I'm into me on stage and everything just comes together and you're full of it. uh, I just want to feel as much as I can on stage, you know, and it's what music is all about. So off stage, I'm just a normal girl doing household like all other girls. All other girls would do. I lived with my grandmother. She's now 96 years of age. I took care of her. I don't have much time for extra work. To be honest, she didn't really want me to do music, but
Mhm.
the stubbornness in me won't allow that. So so off stage, I'm a miscellaneous item.
All right, all right. And what struck me from this is the fact that you remember your first performance, and that is the sweet, sweet memory that remained with you and that drives you to this day. And
Yeah,
how being with your great grandmother has also inspired that bit, even though she does not encourage music, but she's a source of inspiration.
yeah.
So, all right. So moving on to, I think Adi is here. Adi, if you can hear me.
Hello.
Hello,
Yes.
Adi. Yes.
Yes.
Uh, Yes. So my question to you is that, you are the first female rapper to make an album in your mother tongue, which is Mizo. And congratulations for that. I think that's amazing. And you've
Yeah.
done this from a position of multiple marginalizations, if I
Thank
can put
you.
it that way. First as a woman, and then choosing rap as an art form, which is largely a masculine domain, and then deciding to use Mizo as your language of expression. So, what
Yeah.
were the challenges you faced as a woman
Mm.
who set out to become the first female rapper to make an album in Mizo?
Yeah. First of all, at that time, back in 2007, uh, my society is in coping up well with rap music. Because they think that music is rebellious. But then I listen and learn about it, and the love of it weighs so much that mm, I tell myself to do whatever it takes to fill up my dream as the first female rapper to make an album in Mizo language. And I did it.
That's fantastic. So, you overcame all odds that came to you.
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So you
Yes.
overcame all odds that you had to face, and you were successful in your journey to become the first female
Yeah.
rapper in Assam, in Mizoram. That's
Yeah.
amazing. That's amazing. So my question to you
Yeah.
is, I'm
Yeah.
finding your name very interesting. It's
Thank you.
Ladylicious. I'm curious to know why you chose that.
It simply comes from the addition of lady and delicious. Everyone has an AKA in rap music, like a stage name.
Right.
And I want to be known as a lady who is so delicious, and Ladylicious come out.
Oh, that's lovely. Have you considered any other name other than Ladylicious, or was this the first thought that came to your mind?
Yeah, this is the first thought that came to my mind.
Okay, lovely, lovely. Thank you so much, Audie. We'll now move on to Rebel. So, Rebel, again, we are very curious about your name. It's pronounced Rebel, right? Like much like Pebble, Rebel. So, we would love to know why you chose Rebel as your artistic name and the interesting pronunciation story behind it.
I mean, it's very simple, nothing complicated. It's just that I've always been a rebel since I was like a little girl. I always hated rules and regulations. I just never like vibe with the system. So yeah,
Uh-huh.
I called myself a rebel. And even for the it's Reble because I didn't want it to be like in order. There has to be like some disorder. Yeah, it's BLE.
Okay, that's very interesting. So, raising your voice against the system. So, that brings me to my next question that you've been rapping for about 8 years now, which you mentioned in your bio, which means that you have been rapping since about age 10. So, how did your journey begin at that age? I mean, especially as a child artist, and what did you rap about? And what did your parents think of your decision to be a rap artist? And have they heard you perform?
Hello.
Hello, could you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Yes.
So I was saying I was a lame kid. I didn't have like I wasn't like the popular kid. I had like a lot of issues with like friends and stuff. I wasn't like really vibing well with people. So yeah, I started listening to Marshall and obviously Tupac, and it just started from there.
Right. So you started listening to some rap artists and you went from there.
Yeah, it started from Marshall.
All right, lovely. And how did your art evolve over these years? I mean, did you see changes in the way you rap since you were a child?
Yeah, I've changed a lot. Like back in the days, it was all about rhythm and, like knowing how to fit syllables within a bar and stuff. It was all about that. But eventually, I learned more about lyricism and the other aspects of rap. So yeah, I've progressed a lot throughout the years.
Lovely. And can you name one of your favorite rap artists for us? I mean, who do you admire?
Obviously, Marshall Mathers.
Lovely. All right.
Right.
All right. And thank you, Rebel. We've heard all the ladies on the panel share something on their lives and art. So now I'd like to move on to Borkung. So, Borkung, there are some lovely videos of you on YouTube. So it's an amazing treat to watch you
Thank you.
online as you perform. So you performed. There's a specific question I had for you. So you performed a piece called
Yes.
Chini Ha, and that translates to our land in Kokborok dialect of the
True.
Tiprasas.
True. Yes. Yes.
And the song's theme talks about the socio-political situation of the indigenous people of Tripura. So how
Yes.
has this conflict, the socio-political situation and identity contributed to the rapper review?
Actually, if you look into Tripura, our the tribal population, we are only 30% right now. So uh, it's bothering all of us. You know that that down the line, or maybe in few years from now, will decrease even more. Like so so as a musician, that bothers me as well. So that's how this whole idea came about. And then my dad is a politician, and he's already 70 years old, and he has been fighting for the rights of the tribal people in Tripura. So I wanted to do the same, but I realized that I'm not good with politics, So I'm like, so how can I follow his footsteps and do something for my tribal people? Then I realized, I can do it through music. I can express myself through music. So I was always into hip hop. Then I realized that rap is very direct. You can tell your story, you can express your emotions through rap. So I was like, let's just take this rap and use it as a medium to convey my message to the people. So that's how Chiniha came about. And so Chiniha is like very metaphorical. If you read the lyrics and everything, it talks about the struggle of my people here, the problems that we face every day. So it's about that. And when I released it, the youths really accepted the song. It became like an anthem here in Tripura, and people were vibing with it. So it was like, for me, it was like my job was done. As long as I inspire the youths, because the youths are the ones that will make the future brighter, or take certain changes that if you need in your state or in your country, it's the youths that will make it happen. So for me, it's my aim is to inspire the youths. So I made that happen through that song. They appreciate it. So I was like, my job is done there. And that's how Chiniha, the song, came about. And one thing is, like, when we go out of the region, when we talk with people outside, maybe in Delhi, Mumbai, and when you share your problems about your region, about your state, it's a very new thing for them. They don't know about the problems that you face in your daily life. So for me, it's like, how come they don't know about it? So I'm like, I should raise my voice more so that they know about our region, Northeast and Tripura as a whole. So I took that, put it in my head, and I started writing my rhymes. And I want to raise voice, and also encourage the upcoming rappers and the youths to raise their voice, so that people know about our region as well, and of course your own states. Yeah. So that's how the song Chiniha came about. Yes.
That's very fascinating. I mean, you talked about a piece of your identity that has been discriminated because of a lot of socio-political issues, and you raised that
Yes.
voice, and the youth were with you, and I think that's a very powerful story. So that's a to actually follow up with that. I would like to raise a question on another aspect of your identity, which is
Yes.
that as someone who identifies as a man. I'd really like to understand this. Have you ever felt discriminated against because of your gender? Or has
Um,
being a man given you more of an advantage in
it's a
any
tricky
situation?
question now.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So for me, I wouldn't really say, I, I can't really say it's an advantage. But back then, when I started rapping, there were hardly any female rappers back then. The only one who was doing good commercially was Hardcore, the female rapper, and RD. I used to watch some of her music videos, and because she had been in the game for a while. I know her from way back. She don't know me, but I know her. So those days the videos used to come with CDs. We didn't have phones, or you have to put it on your MP3, and let's watch the video on your television or whatever you had, you know. So so back then we didn't have much female rappers. So I thought, like, if you look at US, they have female rappers and they're killing it. You know, they're doing their thing. They're representing where they come from. So I was like, in India, why are females not accepting this art form? I was thinking maybe the art form is not you know, something that they want to take in and express through. So I thought maybe it's more of like a male thing. You know, we want to express our feelings and stuff like that. So I thought it's maybe more male oriented, stuff like that. So I took it like that, and whatever I have achieved this far, like, I think it has to do with my abilities and the hard work that I've put in. So I took it like that. I took it in that way. But now if you look into this hip hop scene, man, you have MCs like Reble killing it. You have MCs like RD killing it. You know, you have Meba Ophelia, you have Raja Kumari, you have DMC, who was featured in Gully Boy. You know, so you have these female rappers killing it. You know, so it's like, now it's like, you know, they're giving us a tough competition for the guys. It's a tough competition now because they're killing the scene. They're doing their thing. They're rhyming. They're spitting. So even if you look at the graphs, even though you look at the graphs, though we boys are more in number in this hip hop movement, in this hip hop thing, and even though if the girls are just bunch of them, they are a force to be reckoned with. You know, they're like, you know, they are there raising their voice, and you cannot mess with them at any moment because they are doing that thing. They're killing it, and they're representing where they come from. So so now I can't say like hip hop is inclined towards the boys or the guys or the males. I feel it's gonna be neutral in future, you know. And right now, though there are just like a few of female rappers coming up, but you can already sense that they're making their mark in the industry, and you can already sense that. So it's like hip hop is gonna be neutral, and if you know, it's both for the males and females. And if you have a voice and if you want to express your story, hip hop is that platform for you. So it doesn't matter if you are a guy or a girl, you know. If you have a voice, go ahead and raise your voice and people will hear you. Yes. So that's what it is. So
All
for me, it
right,
wasn't
all
like
right.
for me, it wasn't like a advantage or anything. The situation was like that back then. So, but now the whole scenario have changed. Yes.
That's lovely. That's actually really good to know. And one of the takeaways that I had from what you said right now is that, quote unquote, you cannot mess with them. And maybe this is
Yes.
the right time for women
Yes.
to
Yes.
actually
Yes.
come into the rap
Yes.
artwork and frame.
Thank you.
So that's great. It was really lovely hearing you guys, and I think that we've heard all of the panelists talk about themselves and also some of the challenges that they face that they've dared to take to live in this world as musicians. And I think that all of the stories were very candid, and it gave me a lot of food for thought and a lot of questions that I would like to ask for the next section that I'll be proceeding with. And in the next round of questions, I'll be asking the artists something about their songs and more about their lives and how they may have been affected by the pandemic. So again, to all of you on the panel, I hope that 3 minutes will be enough and sufficient for each of you to answer these questions. So coming back to you, Fame, if you can hear me. Yes. So coming back to the question of Mumbai again. So, when you actually decided to move to Mumbai, was there any resistance by your family and community when you moved to Mumbai, especially being a young woman and with music kind of being perceived as an inconsistent source of income? And what was the writing process like? I mean, how was it different in Mumbai versus how was it different in Tour?
I have very supportive parents, like both very musically inclined, and I consider myself lucky that way. But yeah, when we were just starting off as a band from Tura based in Bombay, there were like some people who had issues with us like doing this full time, and I completely understand because no one from Tura has ever been successful in doing just music, like in terms of say paying bills or putting food on the table and stuff like that. But I personally, like, I don't really let that bother me much, as long as like my parents don't have an issue with like what I want to do or become in life, like I see myself doing it. So yeah. And talking about the writing process, I don't think it doesn't really matter so much as to where I am, like whether I'm in Bombay or Tura. So apart from the band, like I do my solo stuff, and when I'm writing like my own stuff, then all I need is like solitude, and I have plenty of that because um like I have a room to myself both in Bombay and in Tura. So yeah. And if I'm doing my band stuff, then like we can always meet and jam out, because like in Tura we can always like meet and jam out, and if we're in Bombay, then my boys are always there because we stay together. And so if I were to like maybe come up with a song at 3 a.m. in the morning, like they'd be there and very much awake. So I don't think it has never been difficult or different writing songs, whether it's in Bombay or here at home.
I see. That's lovely to know. Uh, and you also mentioned that you had a lot of support from your family, but you didn't have much support from the community. But that did not really matter because at the end of the day, it was, yes, we would love to know more about that.
No, yeah, at the end of the day, it was like, it's mostly like, if my parents don't have a problem, why do other people have a problem about it? Like, I really don't give a damn, to be honest, you know.
All right, great. So thank you so much, Fame. We'll now move on to Ruthi. Ruthi, you actually said something very interesting in your bio. You mentioned that women to be in the music business give up more than you ever know. And we would love to know if you could just elaborate on that and how difficult has it been for you as a woman and in the music scene?
When I said women to be in music business give up more than you ever know, what I meant was in a society like ours, women are bound to stay at home, do the household, uh, saying I can't because my family needs me too much, my dad, my mom, etc., etc. Not only in music industry, but also uh, in any works of life. Most of the women gave up career over family. To some of us, that's a good thing, but women can also be secretaries, rock star. So also, as much as we've taken up this Western cultures, however, our parents, um, uh, they've improved a lot, but to some extent, they are still very, very conservative thinking. I don't know if your parents are, but uh, if you're in a band as a woman, it's not just that one gig. You have to practice and jam. Went back home at around 2-3 a.m. Uh, you have to make time for your bandmates also. Supposing if your bandmates are available at night, then you have to go and practice and jam at night. So uh, then you have to go out, and there are times when you went back home at around 1, 2, 3 in the morning. We get bad reputation, we get bad reputation if we come back home around in the middle of the night, and that keeps the neighbors talking also. uh, there's still a social stigma to it, in order, shaming each other, that old school thoughts. So in order to safeguard our reputation, um, it comes a misunderstanding with the people you live with. I don't know about Borkung, I don't know about men, but for women, it's pretty hard.
Right. And thank you for sharing that vulnerable story with us and the difficulties that you faced as a career musician and the perceptions that go along with it. So, Ruthie, that actually makes me want to ask you that, you mentioned that in your off time you do household work. So,
Yeah.
do you think that that has been, I mean, kind of like a gender role that has been assigned to you because you're a woman? And that has somehow hampered your career. I mean, considering the fact that you could have spent that time practicing, you could have spent that time doing something else.
When I I don't have much problem in making time for myself, making time for music. So when it comes to music, I will make time, but also at the same time, uh, if it's noon,
Can you hear us?
yeah, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, I can hear you. Uh, Noon time, I don't know. I don't, I, I don't know.
That's fine. I mean, if you don't want to expound upon it, we completely understand. And maybe we can come back to this. Maybe you can take your time to
Yeah.
gather your thoughts around this, and
Yes,
maybe
yes.
we'll come back to this. So then I would just move on to the next artist, which is Adi. Adi, you mentioned in your bio that you started rapping because of what you have gone through and using rap as storytelling about yourself. So, can you share with us some of the struggles that you've had to face in life and how has that shaped you as an artist? Uh, Adi,
Hello.
you're on mute.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Your network
Hello.
bandwidth is a little low.
Uh, okay. Yeah. Um. And above all, what was Ruthi had said about the woman lifestyle in our society. Everyone has their own ups and downs. My father died when I was just 12 years old. And my mama brought me up with through these weathers with which she later followed my daddy this January this year. And about saying something personal, yes, about love life. There were many times in my life that I thought I found the one and felt many electrifying moments, which didn't end up quite well like fairy tales. And these moments shaped me up as an artist, I guess. I've
I,
gone
s-
through lots.
Adi, I think we might have lost you, but if you can hear me, I did understand that there were many struggles in your life that you went through on a personal level, especially with your family and with other people you wanted to form relationships with.
Yeah,
That is what shaped you as
my
an
fa-
artist.
yeah, on personal, yeah, yeah.
Okay,
My
so
my father died when I was just 12 years old. Yeah, I felt it,
oh, I'm so
and
sorry
that
about that.
uh, hurt me so much that it. Um, Hello.
Hello, yes, Adi.
Yes.
Yes. So I would like to actually
Yes,
move
hearing
on
you.
to the next question. So, how is the current situation affecting you,
Yeah.
and how are you coping with the pandemic?
Right now, I had learned how to go with the flow. I'm just staying at home with my daughter. Nothing to do much. I'm writing songs, whatever comes into my mind. Nothing to do. As It's always lockdown during ISO. Lockdown. Uh, right now also we are having lockdown. There's nothing much to do.
All right. So have you been able to use this time for, say, talking, maybe honing your craft further, or you decided maybe this is not the right time to kind of expand your art because it's very uninspiring? I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, of course. Hello?
Hello? Yes, RD, we can hear you. Uh,
Yes,
I
yes. I can't hear you properly, that's why.
That's okay. I think, RD, we'll just wait for the network issues at your end to be sorted out a little. We'll come back to you with the questions.
Okay,
Does
okay,
that work?
okay.
Okay, all right. We are moving on to Rebel right now. So, Rebel, the question to you is that your songs express personal struggles against a world that's unfair. And one of your rap songs called Believe is about answering back to a set of people, the artists who should have supported you but didn't. So, considering your young age, which perhaps places you in a somewhat vulnerable position, so who is your support system in the music scene?
Um, I mean, I can you repeat the question? I'm sorry, I got
Sure, absolutely. So it's actually, I was just going through your songs and I felt that there was a continuous theme in your songs that you express personal struggles against a world that's unfair. And there's one rap song that's called Belief, and it's about answering back to a set of people, the artists who should have supported you, but they didn't. So considering your young age, because I think you're 18, and that places you in a somewhat vulnerable position. So who would you consider your support system in the music scene? Who supports you with your art?
I mean, I've always had my sister as my biggest supporter since I was like a little girl, and I've been supported by. I mean, like I still have my team Mix and Flow, my producer Mon, and everybody who's involved in Mix and Flow. They have been supporting me. They have been pushing me since 2018. And yeah, also Big FM, Red FM 93.5, they have been supporting me since 2016. So yeah, these guys they push me, and yeah, pretty much.
So you do consider yourself lucky because you have a good support system within the music
I
industry.
mean, I have support, but not enough to get me where I want to be. That's like the difference.
Oh, fair enough. Okay. So that brings me to my next question, actually. And pardon me if this is a little personal. We might just, move ahead if you don't want to answer this. So, in another one of your songs, which is Bad, you talk about your parents and that particular song. And you also specifically mention your father there. So, is that song autobiographical? And if it is, would you like to perhaps share the story behind it?
I mean, it is to a certain extent, but I feel like I was not ready for Believe or Bad. I was like too young. I was still progressing. I'm not a big fan of those songs. I mean, of course, everybody did their part, but me myself, I don't like it because I feel like I could have done better. I was like too young for Bad or Believe. I mean, I did talk about my family and everything, and it was just out of like haste. Like Bad
So,
was
how
like just.
So how old were you when Bad was released?
See, like I wrote that when I was like 16 or something. So you understand, right? And now that I'm 19, I look at it and I'm like, you know, I mean, like 16-year-old me writing that, and just it doesn't feel nice because as an artist, you improve, and I've improved so much throughout the years. And when I look back at things I've done like in the past, I am not very fond of it. 'Cause I don't know.
All right, all right.
So yeah, but
And
it was about my dad. It was about my dad and my family.
all right, all right. And if given a chance now, you would like to rewrite that song or
Of
rewrite
course,
it in a
of
different
course.
way?
I would like really make it like really good. If I was given a chance now, I could like make it better.
All right, all right. Good to know, good to know. And interesting to know that, the evolution of an artist just makes them wonder about their past work and makes them really wish to kind of improve upon them and make a different story or a different character out of the whole art piece completely. So thanks for sharing that, Reble. And back to you, Borkung. So Borkung, I had a question for you. So I've been listening to your rap battles, which you put up on YouTube.
Yes.
And the question is that the vocabulary of rap may sometimes have words and phrases which are not entirely politically correct. And
Yes.
especially during rap battles, it can get very personal. And there's usage of slurs attacking gender, sexual, racial identities. So how does that reconcile with an art form which is rap that is well known to or evolved to fight forms of systemic oppression? And
Okay,
how do you personally feel if you ever have to use these slurs in rap battles where it gets very personal?
if you look into my background, I also come from a battle background, but what we used to do was mostly freestyle, like on the spot rapping. We rap about maybe your hair, your t-shirt, your pants or your dirty shoes. We rap like that, and we don't go that personal. We just have fun, and no matter who wins.
Borkung, we can't hear you. We might have lost you. Yes, Borkung, you're back.
Okay.
So yes. Could you repeat the last two sentences, please?
Yeah, I'm saying that I started off as a battler. Like, I used to battle like back in the days, but it was mostly like freestyle. So we used to talk about like your hair or maybe t-shirt or shoes or maybe stuff like that, like silly things, and have fun with it, rhyme with it. But now rap battle have evolved to battle rap, so which is more like personal now. It's more cutthroat. It's more on the face, and it can get very, very personal at times. So that's battle rap for you. It have evolved, so you cannot say why is it so personal? Why it have turned out to be in that way, But that's how it is. The game have evolved, so now that is battle rap for you. And once you step in that ring, you should know that it's coming. Those personal rhymes are coming for you. Those personal lines are coming for you. You should be ready with it. And as far as you are within that perimeter of the battle and whatever you do there, I think it's fine because it's a sport, and you already know what's going to happen in that battle. That's why you step into the ring, right? And then so when it gets personal, you should just take it as a sport, And so whatever happens in battle, it just stays within that. It's like a boxing match. You try to knock each other out, right, in the ring. But if it escalates more than that, then it becomes something different. It's not a sport anymore, So within the ring, it's fine. It's well and good. So it's the same with battle rap. So within that space, it's fine. Not forgetting that hip hop has always been raising its voice for oppression, against oppression, So hip hop, it's there. It's always there. And artists like me, if you ask me, I'm not a battle rapper. So I'm an artist. So I write songs to inspire people. Same will go with Reble and RD. They write songs to inspire people. So that is like on the artist side. So we are like hip hop artists. We rap. But so that's there. And battle rap also is a part of hip hop. You cannot ignore that. But battle rap, it has its own space. It has its own space that whatever they do down there, it just stays there. It should not escalate beyond that. So it's a sport, So you cannot ignore battle rap. It's there. It's good for the sport, and it's evolving. And it'll grow even more bigger in India. So it's coming up, and you have battle leagues in India as well. It's growing. So I feel like, it's a sport. As long as you take it like that, it's fine. So so you should go with that mentality, like it's a sport. So let's just do it for the sport. Nothing personal. And hip hop is always there. And hip hop is always there to raise its voice against oppression and stuff like that. So yeah, that's what it is.
I think that's an interesting analogy, that the fact that you call it a sport.
Yeah,
so whatever happens within the arena stays in the arena, and it does not
Yes,
escalate beyond that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like that. Yeah.
All right, interesting. So I've come to the end of my questions, and there are questions from the audience though that we would like to take up. So the first question is for Reble. And the question is that, for you, what is the difference between rapping and other kinds of vocal performance? And what is the writing process like? And what is the favorite thing that you've written?
Okay. Writing, I mean, like differentiating between like rapping and singing, I think. So that's what the person meant. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are. We can hear you.
I think writing raps are very different. Like you have to pay a lot of attention to a lot of things. You have to like pay attention to internal rhymes, multisyllable rhymes, and you have to pay attention to wordplays, and like there's so many things. When you sing, like it's different, and obviously like these are like two different things. But I feel like when it comes to like the writing process, writing raps are like, for me, I feel like it can get really difficult because you have to like, okay, fine, you have to think of the bars, right? Like how many syllables you're fitting in within a bar. Like, that's one thing. Then you have to think about the internal rhymes, then the wordplays, then this and that, delivery, everything. It just like, it takes a lot for me. So yeah, I think sometimes it gets difficult, honestly speaking. And my favorite thing I've written so far was a song called Miss. It's just like a short verse. It's called Miss Height. That's my favorite verse.
All right, lovely. Thank you. And this is a question for all the women rappers. So maybe, each of you can take turns to answer this. The question goes that because there's such a huge double standard in terms of what men are celebrated for rapping about and women vilified for, do they feel any pressure to rap about only certain topics? So Rebel and Adi.
Adi can go first.
Yes, if Adi could go first.
Hello, can you hear
Yes.
me? Am I audible?
Yes, Adi, we can hear you. You're audible.
Yes. As I've said, I had learned how to go with the flow. I'm still in my position, Ladylicious, and I'm still the lady they discuss. At those times, back at those times, I listened to only the Western female rap songs like Eve, Missy, Dub Rat, Missy Elliott, Lisa Left Eye Lopes, and all. And their boldness, their creativity in writing their songs, their rhymes, their delivery skills, they inspired me to become as one of them. And but I stood up as a storyteller, so I didn't mind to be one as myself.
That's great. So you stood up for your right to tell stories about yourself, and that helped you navigate the kind of content you want to put out. The same question for Rebel.
Yeah, I mean, I am honestly like, I'm not a feminist or a sexist, and I'm very much like neutral. But like, I was really annoyed at one thing because like when there was this, okay, but when a male like he brags about himself, there was like this guy who was actually like, there's a rapper who brags a lot. And when he brags, people like think it's okay. And when I say something against him, I'm being like too egotistic, And I was like annoyed at that. They were like, Reble is so salty. Reble is so egotistic. She thinks like she's so, great or something. I mean, he can boast about himself and, like it's fine. But when you say something against it, you become like salty and egotistic. So I feel like sometimes these double standards do exist,
Right.
So I don't want to drop names.
All right. So it has been difficult for you. I mean that aspect of your gender actually played a role in your perception and your art.
Sometimes, I'm not gonna say all the time, but sometimes, yeah, it can get really annoying.
Okay.
Because they'll never put you on the same level as a man. They'll be like best female rappers and best male rappers. They'll never say best rappers of all time. There's always the male rapper and the female rapper, the femc and the MC. They don't say MC for everybody, and that shit annoys me.
I see. They create a difference, an artificial difference of sorts. Okay. So my next question is for Borkung. The audience is asking that, are the conversations in your circles of musicians about gender and the differing opportunities for men and for women and other minority genders in music? Or is this something that's difficult to talk about?
No, we discuss about everything. Most of my friends are a fan of Meba Ophelia. They come and say, yo, that girl is killing it. So they come, we talk about, like, for us, it's like, as long as you put out good music, we appreciate. For us, in my circle, it's like, yo, who's doing something new, who's bringing something new on the table. Like when I watched Rebel, maybe it was a few months back, I was like, yo, this girl is dope. And so again, when you see people like Meba and Big Ree win EMAs, it's a huge thing for India and for Northeast. I don't know why people don't talk much about it, because we are from the Northeast. I don't know, but it's a huge deal and they should be talking about it, because if it was done by somebody else from other state, I think it would have been a huge topic to talk about, maybe on the headlines or stuff like that. But I don't know why it had, like, they just put it out there, like they won the EMAs, and then after a few weeks it just disappeared. Me, I'm against all these things. For me, artists, when he or she puts in the hard work, he or she deserves to be noticed. And so, for in my circle, it's like we appreciate whoever brings in that, something dope on the table. So I'm a huge fan of, like, all the female artists. Like I said, these girls are killing it. And like what Reble said is actually true. Whatever she said is true. And then I think it'll take some time for the society to adjust to all these things. It will take time, but I'm sure when you have a voice and when you're raising your voice in that level, I don't think so people can ignore you. So I think, like, down the future, down the line, we will all be equal, definitely. And I feel like there should be more appreciation towards them, towards the female rappers, because they deserve one. Like RD, she had been doing it from like way back. Like, I know her from way back when the CDs were going around, not even phones or all these things. So we need to pay respects to the people who have been doing it, like legends. So shout out to RD, Rapple is coming up and killing it. So shout out to all these ladies, they're killing it. Meba Ophelia winning EMAs, it's a very big thing. And the MC again, she was featured in Gully Boy. So, they also knew that they had to bring in a female rapper in the movie. It's a Bollywood movie, of course, but they knew they had to add that element. They need to bring a female rapper to balance everything, because you saw everybody battle in the movie. If you go, it's about a gully boy. You see Ranveer Singh doing his thing. You see the battles happening between the guys, and you also see the MC among all these guys. So it's something that you should be, you should appreciate about. And I feel that hip hop is here to stay, and it will not matter down the line whether it's the guys or the girls. It's gonna be like, yo, this MC is killing it, not putting this so and so. Go with the name, and like Rebel said, kill it.
So let's hope that gender neutral rap industry just comes very soon and everyone can participate equally.
Yeah.
Right now, I mean, even you have acknowledged that there are barriers to women getting in, and we hope that very soon that those barriers are removed, or it's made easier and there's equal participation from both the genders, or even other genders for that matter, from other minority genders. So my next question is for Fame and Ruthi both. And the question is that what have your experiences in musical collaborations been like? And do you feel like gender comes into play here, wherein it allows for different kinds of opportunities, or how people see you? So Fame, if you would like to go first. You're in mute. Yeah.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Sure. So it says that what have your experiences in musical collaborations been like? Do you feel like gender comes into play here, whether it allows for different kinds of opportunities, or how people see you?
Okay. I haven't really collaborated much, to be honest. I've just been, and whatever collaborations I've done so far has like, I've done my part, and then it just ends there. Like, it doesn't come out or anything. And then I've done this one very, very Bollywood kind of collaboration. Like, they wanted to do our music, and then I had to wear their Bollywood clothes and shit. And then in the end, like, we didn't get anything, but I was like so it was out on YouTube, and we reported the video because, like, I mean, I don't know, but yeah. So it was all that stuff. But other than that, I don't think. I mean, there have been, yeah, lots of people asking me for collaborations, and but I don't know. It's not like I don't want to do collaborations, but I think I don't know what, like, can you call it, like, trust issues? Because I have, like, had, like, a lot of problems with people, asking me for collaborations, and then they don't do anything with that song. Like, I've tried recording it for them and send it and all that stuff. But yeah, and also, what was about the gender? I'm sorry, the question about the gender.
Yes, the question specifically says that, do you feel like gender comes into play when you're doing musical collaborations? Whether, it limits the opportunities that you have, or it allows for opportunities, or generally, does it play a role in how people perceive you, especially in the context of musical collaborations, if you've done any?
Yeah, yes and no. For me personally, I don't really think about, like, if I don't know, like, it doesn't matter if you're, like, male or female, really. But yes, people do, like, it's all about, I guess, your own preference, really. Like, for me, I really don't think about whether it's like women have more advantage or men have more advantage. I really don't think it in that sense. It's all about, like, how you, I mean, music is music in the end, it's an art. Everyone does it in their own way. So I don't really think about gender, when it comes to music. So yeah.
Right. Good to know that.
I hope that
It does. The answer to that was the fact that in your case, gender doesn't really play a significant role. I mean, that's the takeaway that you had. But I'll ask the same question to Ruthi to see if she feels the same.
Same goes for me. I don't do much collaboration. Does that include playing live music?
Yes, we can take that into context.
Okay. I do collab with some musicians on stage, but based on recording, I don't do much collab with anyone. So I'll just pass that question.
All right, but do you think it may play a role? Do you think gender might play a role?
Since I've entered into this scene, this kind of inequalities or paid less because we're women, I don't have much problems or complaints or difficulties in these issues. I don't know about RD. She's been in this scene longer than me. She might have felt differently, but for me, I don't face much problems. In our society in Mizoram, I think women have, as an artist, I think women have more advantage than men.
Okay.
I hope men will agree with me. All our male artists will agree with me. I don't know if it's a personal preference or gender biasness, but I don't know. Women have more advantage.
All right. So in the Mizo society, women have more advantage.
Yeah, as an artist. I don't know about RD, but RD must have faced many problems during their times. I don't know. She might have felt differently, but as an artist, as a singer, we don't face much problems.
All right, I see. So that actually, now that everyone has mentioned about their own experiences, a very interesting question that has come up is, because artists from all different states are here, can this be extended to kind of create cross-state musical collaborations of different kinds? And what are your thoughts on that? If we could just start from Rebel.
I cannot hear you.
Oh, I'm so sorry. There was a very interesting question that has come up, that since all the artists present on the panelists today are from different states, so is there any scope for cross-state collaborations between the artists? And how would you like to take that forward from today?
It's really difficult. I literally cannot hear you. Can I just get my earphones?
Absolutely, please do. Fame, if you could hear my question, would you like to answer that?
Yes, would you repeat it? Sorry, I was just
yes. Sure. So the question was about, since artists from different states are here, so whether cross-state musical collaborations are possible now that you guys are from different states and you're here.
Blue or pink? Blue.
Why not? I mean,
Color.
I mean, it is possible.
It is possible.
It is possible. All right, Adi, what do you think?
If it's possible, I would really love to. If it's possible.
You'd really love to if it's possible. Oh, that's great. Borkung, what do you think?
Yeah.
It would be great. It would be great to have all the artists together, bring different flavor, because me, RD, and Reble, we are rappers, and then we have Fame, and then we have Ruthi with different flavor again, different genre. So putting all of them together would be dope. Would be awesome. So yeah.
That's great. And Ruthi?
Yeah.
That's a must.
That's great. And Rebel, a last comment on that?
I'm sorry, like something happened with this phone, I was like having issues. I apologize. So what's the question about like collaboration between different artists belonging to different genres?
Different states also.
Oh, okay, different
states.
Yes. Yeah, I guess that would be dope if we actually united as one. It would be great. There's a lot of division out here. So I guess if we united as a whole, just imagine like all the female rappers from all the different states come together and like do a cypher, or the artists, even like from different genres, like all the female artists, or even with the males. I don't know. It'd be great. It'd be so dope.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. And with that, I would like to conclude the session. And I must thank the audience for some amazing questions there. And to conclude, I think this was an hour, a little more over than an hour, well spent. We went through the fascinating life tales of the artists and understood what inspired them and the struggles that they've gone through. And at every turn of this conversation, there was a new story and a cause for hope. So artists are known to create magic and use their art to soothe pain, thereby healing everyone around them. And today's artists are no different. So thank you to all the artists for letting us know you and your art so intimately. So with that, we would like to conclude this webinar. Thank you so much, everyone.
Okay. Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye, guys. Fame, I will
Bye.
follow you on Instagram.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much,
Ruthi, my God.
RD, Rebel, Borkung, and Ruthi. Thank you to our chair, Raina. We also would like to thank the curator to this sessions, Anungla Zoe Longkumer. Thank you to all the participants too for joining us. We're really excited about the collaboration, and we hope that we are able to facilitate this collaboration in the future. So yeah, the recording of this webinar will be put online on YouTube. You can go on our YouTube channel and please follow us on social media for future events. Have a good day.